Hi there, I'm Lee. Welcome to iMineBlocks. In this video I'll be covering my Burstcoin earnings for the month of October and November 2017 and just giving you guys a recap of exactly where I am with Burstcoin and my plans for the future with it. Watch the rest of this video because it should be quite entertaining and enlightening for you guys. There's going to be some big changes ahead for me with Burstcoin. So let's continue on. We'll take a look at the earnings from the spreadsheets first of all. So if I open up some of my Excel spreadsheets, if we have a look at the blocks that I've been mining over the past few months, you can see it's been a bit of a mix-up. If we start down here, which is June, we've got a whole bunch of blocks there, good earnings. July, not so good. August, September, kind of just mid-range. And October was an absolutely dreadful month for me mining Burstcoin. So couple of reasons for that. I think I had a little bit of downtime, but that wasn't the main thing. I think most of my issues was actually due to connecting with the Burst.Ninja pool. I just seemed to be having constant issues connecting to that pool, so I don't know whether the pool was finding blocks, what the problems was there. So that was a dreadful month. Moving into November, slightly improved. Halfway through November I moved to the Burst.Mining Club. And almost immediately, I think I moved on the 15th of November, I begin to find more blocks. So the Burstcoin earnings through November was much better. But you can see on October it was 4 blocks, and through November, what's that, 8 or 9 blocks? 8 blocks there, sorry. So twice as many blocks November versus October. If we have a look at the transactions, because the transactions are slightly different from the block rewards, because the pool pays out shares proportionate to your earnings. If we have a look at October 1st, we have got a total of 6653 Burstcoin, and I'll talk about the dollar amounts in a moment. And for November it was 8928 for November. So let's just have a quicker look at the Burstcoin kind of market conditions, if you like, and then we'll kind of relay that information to you guys so you can understand how it plays into effect of what you're actually earning. So this is my address, it ends AF289, so that's my public address. You can see how I'm getting on with that, current balance, etc. And you've got my block rewards over the period of time, also transactions, etc. But what I wanted to show you guys was the total blocks that I've been sort of forging kind of on like a daily basis. So this is a 1-year chart, I believe it is, or I'll make it a 1-year chart. So you can see up till sort of early July sort of time, I was getting between 1 and 2 blocks per day, so pretty good. And each one of those block rewards was also slightly higher, probably about 15 or 1600 burst for each block. So those during that period of time quite good. Then from sort of July, it just really drops off, and we've got one occasionally, a couple of days, sort of hit one, miss one, hit one, and then more bigger and bigger gaps. So I think that was mostly due to the Burstcoin network difficulty. I'll show you that chart now. So you can see it's pretty steady at the start of the year, all the way back to January, quite low, 13,000 terabytes. By the time we get to the middle, it's up to almost double that, sort of 30,000 terabytes. And then from June, it just continues kind of going up to crazy amounts. So the network difficulty from July onwards increased significantly, up to where it is about now, which is 115 to 130,000 terabytes. So significantly more difficult. So compared to the start of the year, it's basically 10 times more difficult in terms of the total network size. So that's a big factor on your earnings as an individual. The network is much bigger, and the Burstcoin rewards are shared amongst everyone, so everyone is going to be getting a little bit less unless you've got massive amounts of hardware. So that brings me on to the other thing. I've already got quite a bit of hardware. You would have seen in all my previous videos. I've got about 115 terabytes. So that's quite a big investment for me as an individual. Roughly about $4,100 if you just include the hard drives and not the rest of the hardware. So that's what I wanted to talk about next, is the returns that I'm getting from that capital investment and what I plan to do in the future. So I've just got a WordPad here. Oh, actually, just before I move on to that one section, I just also wanted to show you the Burstcoin price over the last year as well. So way back earlier then, in January, the Burstcoin earnings was a lot less. So then we had this peak around June and July, a massive bump there. I done quite well. I sold quite a bit of Burstcoin during that peak. And then from there, we was really on pretty much a downward run from August, a little boost in September, and then from September it was kind of just falling down. And halfway through November, I was kind of almost going to pull the plug on this. Only really in the last couple of days, almost weeks, Burstcoin has increased in price quite significantly. It's got a nice pump in this literally the last week or so. So you can see we're currently on the 6th of December, and yeah, really in this last week. But most of that is caused by the increase in Bitcoin price. So you can see the price compared with Bitcoin has increased only slightly, but most of that gains, if I just turn off the Bitcoin price, you can see most of the gains is caused by the increase in Bitcoin price, not so much the increase in Burstcoin price relative to Bitcoin. I hope that makes sense. So when I was looking at the end of last month, November, the earnings were absolutely dreadful, and even now they're still pretty bad. But at the end of November, when you've done the original sort of calculations, it was really awful. So I'll just open up a WordPad and show you how it looks today. So these prices might be ever so slightly different because the prices are obviously always changing. And when I just done the original calculations, Burst was at 100 Satoshis. I think the Bitcoin price was also slightly higher. So that will just explain the variance in the price in there. Going back to the WordPad again. Sorry, let me just make all this a little bit bigger so you guys can hopefully see on screen a little bit easier. Okay, so October, total of 4 blocks is mined for Burstcoin. That gave us a total of 6,653 Burstcoin. Total earnings in dollar amount was 83 and 86 minus $25 for electricity costs, gave us a ending total or net total of 58.86. So pretty bad. November was improved quite significantly versus October. So we got double the amount of blocks, 8 blocks for November and 8928 Burstcoin in total. When I've done the math on it, like I say, it will be slightly different now, is $112.53 minus our 25 for electricity costs gives us $87 and $53 for the month of November. So if we look down now, and this is kind of what I'm being getting to, the return on our investment. Now I'm very lucky because I started mining Burstcoin ages ago. I think it was sort of end of 2014, 2015. So, and when I kind of put all these new hard drives, by the way, I've got a whole stack of them over here. Let me just show you quickly. I'll show you afterwards. I'll show you a screenshot or something. So otherwise I'll just interfere with the camera. It won't be good. But once I started building all of this, started putting quite a lot of money into it, the total kind of capital cost for me for this current sort of setup, the 115 terabyte setup, is roughly $4,100. So like I say, quite a big investment. So our monthly return, based on the last month, which is a recent kind of best month, and using that figure from here going forwards, that gives us 87.53 onwards on a monthly basis. So if you work that out, our capital cost and how long it's going to take us to get a return back, we are looking at 46.8 months. Assuming everything stays the same as it is, it could get worse, in which case the return is going to take a lot longer. So that gives us a return of 3.9 years, which is very bad for you guys if you want to be miners. So like I say, I'm lucky because I started this early enough that I've managed to use the price is in my favour. I know I've managed to get all my money back. So at this point, it's not that bad for me. But anyone new that's entering, or maybe we've only started just a few months ago, this is going to be very significant for you in terms of getting your money back. I think you guys are going to have a very hard time. So when I first started with Burstcoin, I've got it in my notes, but my original kind of expectation to get my money back, I think, was 18 to 24 months. I think worst case scenario was about 3 years, and I was quite happy with those numbers because the hard drives, they don't depreciate quite as much as other things, so graphics cards. So you probably lose about 25% per year with your hard drives. So that's really the only cost you need to cover. You can sell them and get a good majority of your money back versus graphics cards. But in terms of total returns, anyone that's coming into it now, it's going to take a very long time for them to get their money back with Burstcoin mining, even considering, you know, the low running costs, electricity, etc. That's all bad. So where I am now, where I'm going to be going moving forward, I think I'm going to give it 1 more month, and then I think I'm going to be exiting Burstcoin. Originally, I wanted to sort of get into Burstcoin, and I thought other networks would be kind of further along than what they are now. So with Storj and Siacoin, and also MadeSafe, and what's the Interplanetary File System, IPFS. I thought all those networks would be a lot further along, and they're just not. So it's not like you can just kind of roll out of Burstcoin and go straight into those other networks and, you know, maintain good earnings. Those other networks are just not ready yet. So I think what I'm going to be doing is reducing my number of hard drives and putting that money into GPU mining, simply because the returns are going to be much better for the foreseeable future. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be reducing my hard drive count in total, maybe even completely. I'm not quite decided yet. I'm putting that money into more GPU mining operations. So that's kind of where I am with Burstcoin. So I know there's been a lot for you guys to take on board. There's a lot of bits and pieces that I wanted to say within this video, but hopefully that kind of shares everything of exactly where I am with Burstcoin. So yeah, in summary, Burstcoin earnings for the most recent months have been dreadful. The costs and the returns are awful, and I'm probably going to be looking to exit my Burstcoin hardware holdings. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave those in the comments area below, and I do read them and I do respond to you guys. So, you know, if you want to interact with me, then that's one way you guys can do that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.